Hello and welcome back to another amazing episode of the Speak Live podcast. We are so excited to have you with us for another amazing week. I am your host, Minister Phoenix, alongside this beautiful and amazing woman that I get to call my wife and the most amazing co-host that you can get on a podcast anywhere in the world. Tell them who you are, baby.
That's right. This is the one and only Sheikah.
One and only.
We are so happy you're here with us today. It's going to be a good episode.
It is. So if this is your first time listening, shout out to you. Hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button. Make sure you put your notifications on so when the episodes drop, you
get it.
know it's happening.
Yes,
you know it's going down. And don't forget to comment so that you can be a part of these conversations. We take the feedback from y'all, and that's how we kind of tailor our episodes, because we want to hear what you guys want to talk about.
And again, don't forget our book.
You know that book.
When Three Roads Collide.
Written by yours truly and Miss yours truly. So if you are one of our faithful listeners who tunes in week after week, we appreciate y'all. I can't stress how much we appreciate y'all. We done got to season 2 and y'all been rocking with us since the very first episode. We appreciate you.
Yes.
Shout out to y'all.
Tell them, babe. Tell them where can they find the book?
They can find the book anywhere, any bookstore online whatsoever. Amazon, you can find it there. Goodreads, you can find it there. You just type in the title of the book. It'll pop up on so many different digital platforms that it'll make your head spin. You can find it barnesandnobles.com. You can find it anywhere that they sell books. If they sell books, it's there.
It's there.
You don't even gotta look hard. You put it in your Google search bar. It'll pop up.
You'll find it.
It will pop up. Also, on the podcast, just a shout out. Remember, we are on all digital platforms. We're on about 7 digital platforms now.
7. About
7. All the major ones. The iTunes, we're on there. The Google Podcast, we're on there. The Spotify, we are on there. And about 4 or 5 different other ones. Go check it out. We wherever you listen to your podcast, we're there.
Yes.
We there. So stop playing. Tune into the podcast, man. We're still working on getting all of season 1 on there, but all of season 2 so far is on the digital podcast platform. So go check us out if that's how you listen to your podcast. All right, now that the formalities are out of the way. Now this week, I was feeling away. I have to confess, I was kind of feeling away. And that brought me to the topic that we're going to be talking about this week.
Confession is good
Confession
for the soul.
is good for the soul. I am confessing. I was feeling away. So if you're wondering why we started talking about this episode, it's because your boy started thinking about life and he started getting all in his feels.
Oh, wow. This is new to me, people.
So today we are going to talk about success. Now, I know when we first started, when I brought it up, you was like, I thought we talked about success. We ain't talking about success yet. We may have touched upon different pieces of it, but this episode is going to be dedicated to talking about success. All right. Now, like I said, I've been thinking seriously about success the past few days. It's really been on my mind and on my heart. So just to start off the conversation, I'm just curious because I don't think I've ever asked you this. What does success look like to you? It's a loaded question.
It is.
It really is.
It is. What does success look like for me? It's not something that I ever really think about. But, I mean,
It's actually a harder question to answer than we often think about.
I know. I'm like, but why?
But why is it hard?
Why is it? I don't know.
Why is it difficult?
But I think for me, success is anything that I really put my mind to, and if I accomplish it, I feel like I'm successful in it. So it doesn't have to just be my goals, my dreams, where I'm trying to get to. It could be anything, even okay, you know what? I'm gonna dedicate Saturday to clean the house. Saturday come and I clean the whole house. Yes,
that's a win.
Success.
That's a win.
So some people,
it's a little thing. So you pick your battles, your victories where you can get them.
Yeah, because when you're busy and you have a busy life, sometimes you don't get around to do these things. And I know, like, sometimes I'm like, I gotta clean it. You probably thinking like, what are you gonna clean? There's nothing to clean.
There's always something to
But
clean.
for me,
Hardwood
it's
floors,
like,
there's always something to clean.
yeah. So for me, I'm just like, I like to see my house look a certain way. I like to see things, look a certain way. So for me, anything out of place, like, the hustling, the bustling throughout the week, things get misplaced. So come the weekend, I'm like, okay, you used to be right here. Now you're over there. I gotta put you back over here. So stuff like that. And if you want to think about like now, like I'm in school, and for me, once I'm done, that's another thing that I'm gonna accomplish, and to me that's success, because I'm like, it's hard, it's not easy, but at the same time it's like, I know I have a goal, and I know I have dreams, and I know there's somewhere I want to get to. So in order for me to get there and to feel like I'm successful in that area, then I have to just really stick to it and get it done and not give up.
All right. Your definition is way deeper than mine. by far. I wasn't thinking about small wins. I wasn't thinking about none of that. So for me, success is reaching that one main goal for me that I'm trying to accomplish. That's what success for me means.
Yeah, because it looks different for everybody.
It does, and I think that could be the piece that's getting me, because we'll go into it as we continue the episode. So this one is an interesting question. And do you consider yourself successful?
I do.
Why?
So, I mean, I may not have everything that I want. I can't say I don't have anything that I need.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like I have everything that I need.
Okay.
But I may not have everything that I want. So, the things that I've accomplished so far, the things that I'm able to do, and the fact that I have a life, the fact that every day I get up with a new drive, new hope, I feel like I could be successful week by week, day by day. Like, say for instance, tomorrow I go to work and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be working with these students, and I have a goal in mind for the day. If I accomplish that goal, I'm successful for that day. So if you're looking at it as a bigger picture, like where I am right now, in my career, and everything that we try to strive to, I would say that we're pretty successful. We may not, or I am pretty successful.
Yes, you go on you. This is
I may not be where.
What do you think?
I may not be where I want to be, fully, but I'm getting there. So for where I am right now, I feel like I'm pretty successful. Because when I look back, I wasn't where I am now. So, it may not be like, I just have to appreciate where I am right now, because I know a couple years ago, a year ago, I wasn't where I wanted to be. So the fact that I'm here now, I'm like, wow, you're doing pretty good.
So the fact that you're making progress,
yeah,
then you consider yourself successful.
Yeah.
All right.
And like I said, I don't have everything that I want, but I have everything that I need. And to me, that's success. Because a lot of people are like, oh, I need this, I need that. I would be ungrateful to say, oh, I need this. Like, and if you talk about like on a spiritual level,
I'm talking about any way that you want to measure it, looking at yourself, reflecting on where you are. Do you consider yourself successful?
I do. There's things and steps that I need to take, but honestly, you're never gonna be full. Like, I feel like, at least let me talk for myself, I don't feel like I'm ever gonna be like, oh yes, I am there, I have everything, or but I feel like I'm going saying the same thing over and over. But yeah, I
I
guess
I don't think you said that piece about, never thinking you'll have everything. I think that was new. That was new information.
Oh.
Now this is gonna be really weird.
Okay.
And I don't even know if it's gonna make sense, but I'm gonna say it anyway because I'm on my show and no one can tell me what I can and can't say. So now, although I feel like I have accomplished a lot of things, although I feel like I have taken steps into where I'm trying to get to, for some reason I don't picture myself as being successful.
I mean,
I feel like I've made strides. I have accomplished a lot of things. We've been able to accomplish some amazing things. And I'm grateful for my accomplishments. I am. But for the vision that I have of where I'm trying to get to and what I want from life, from family, from career, I don't picture myself as being successful yet. You know what? I really feel like Paul in the Bible. Because it's like, he's like, I forget about those things which are behind me and I look to those things that are ahead. I press towards the mark for the prize of high calling. See, I got this vision in my mind, and although I'm making steps toward it, I don't feel like I'm there yet.
That's fine. It's okay not to be complacent.
And I think it's big. Honestly, I think it's bigger than complacency. I don't think it's about getting comfortable. But in my mind, I just have this goal that I really want to see, or rather this state that I really want to get to. And until I get there, for some reason, I don't know. I just don't feel like successful. Is that weird?
I don't think.
Come on, counselor, counsel me.
I don't think that's weird. I think that's, you're being aware of yourself and how you're feeling. And that's okay to feel like that. That's okay to have that awareness and to say, you know what? Even though I have accomplished all of these things, I still don't see myself as successful as where I want to be, and that's good, because then at least, you have a drive, you have something to push you to get to, and I know you're not going to stop until you get there, until you accomplish what you want, until you
gift and the
like,
curse.
until you feel like, what, you could be successful of whatever it is that you're trying to get to. So I think as long as you have that and you keep feeling like that, don't be too hard on yourself. We talk about that, like, don't be too hard on yourself. But
that may work. Honestly, that may work for some people. But for me, I don't know. I think with me, I can be very hypercritical about where I am and where I'm trying to get to.
I mean, as long as you're not letting that damp your spirit in a way where you're like, okay, like you kind of get down in a deep hole, or feeling like,
there's no holes that I'm going into.
Or feeling like
the only hole I'm going into is when Jesus calls me home, and even then, I'm gonna rise again.
So like, I feel like you just have to take it one day at a time, and you know what to do best. Like, just pray and leave it to God. Like, he'll move some things around, he'll shift some things around.
That is true.
He'll put some things in place.
He is the master of the pivot.
Move some things out the way and get you there. So,
you know what I really want God to move out the way? This school thing.
You and I both.
Jesus, move this school out the way.
You and I both. So.
Oh man, whew, that's another story for another day. So, in your opinion, is there any particular measure that we can measure success with? Is there any particular way that we can measure success? How do you measure success?
I think I said it before.
You measure it through accomplishments?
Because it's not easy to set a goal, especially like a goal for the week or a months, year. It's not easy to set a goal and then to actually accomplish everything. And even if I don't accomplish everything that's on my list or whatever my goal is, like, I know sometimes, like, I'll say this and then other times you're like, oh my gosh, like, you kind of like go back on what you're trying to do and what you're saying. But I feel like as long as like you could hold yourself accountable to say, you know what, like it's okay. It's okay to not be able to like accomplish this or to feel successful in this area, that area, but celebrate the little things.
Celebrate the little victories.
So, but like I said, sometimes like you feel like you're on the mountain top and you're like, yes, I'm gonna do this and I got this. And another time it's like the same person who was like, it's like a Elijah moment. Like the same person is like, you're like,
Jesus, take me now.
Yeah, you're like, okay, I was just feeling like this. I was feeling amped, like I got it. And then next week is like, what happened? So you just really have to like just
be
keep
inconsistent
yourself,
as people.
You just have to keep yourself going and just remember and hold yourself accountable and just just take it easy on yourself. Because I know for me, like when I start getting too much, thinking too much and getting too much on myself, it not just affect me, internally, but it affect me, on the outside too, where it's like I'm stressed. You could tell I'm stressed. Like I'm overwhelmed. Like I just feel like the whole like earth, like everything is just like coming down on top of my head. And I literally have to take a step back and sit and say, nope, can't let this happen. Or you can't, you're not going to do this. So I don't know if I answered the question, but
what's interesting is as people, we definitely do measure success differently. So my picture of success may be very different from yours, and yours may be different from someone else's. One person's picture of success could be how much money they have in the bank. They could have a dollar amount that they're trying to get to. Another person's success could be things that they're trying to accomplish, things that they're trying to do, places that they're trying to get to in life, So I think for mine, I have like just a goal that I really want to accomplish. And I think when I get to that point, when I get to that point where these, like, it's kind of like, I would say like a checklist, if you will, where I'm able to check off all the boxes on this list. I'm like, yes, I have finally made it.
Yeah. And I believe, I believe in like writing down your goals, writing down your dreams, write it down, and put it on paper. Put it somewhere where you could always see it.
Write the vision. Make it plain.
Put it somewhere where you could see it. And every time, you see it, it's not like for you to see to frustrate you, but it's for you to see and be like, okay, yep, I remember what I'm trying to work towards.
And I think that's why people do vision boards sometimes.
And I have a vision board, but I just need to find somewhere to hang it up. And honestly, like I could actually, a lot of stuff that I wrote down on that vision board, I could actually check off because I've accomplished it. And to me that could be another way of like, oh wow, success.
So maybe you need to add to your vision board.
So now I need, exactly, because I had starting school on there.
Yeah, you've been there.
So I had a lot of stuff. I had like, I still didn't. Yeah, I had traveling to a place which we didn't get to go because COVID. But
oh, Cove.
We're gonna get there. So
All right. Do you ever feel pressure? Do you ever feel pressure?
What kind of question is that? Every day.
In striving to be successful?
Yes, and that's the reason why I actually decided to go back to school, because I know that where I'm at right now is not where I want to be. So
how do you deal with that? Like when you're feeling the pressure of like trying to be successful, and like maybe it's because things aren't going how you want them to go. Maybe it's, I don't know, it could be anything. We face pressure and stress for different reasons, but in that case, like how do you deal with the pressure of that?
I just put one foot in front of the next.
One foot in front of the other?
And I just go. No, to be honest.
10 toes down, keep going?
Because for me, it's like school was a big thing for me. And I'm like, I've been out of school for
long enough.
Long enough. And just the thought of going back to school was like enough stress for me. And thinking about how busy my life is and how am I going to go back. I tried twice before I actually got to go. And every time there was something else happening after the other. And it was like, okay, well, maybe this wasn't a good time. That wasn't a good time. But for I realized that for every year or every semester I put off, I'm taking steps backwards instead of taking steps forward. So I just decided, like, you know what? If I actually register for the class, then I have to go. So I just register for classes, and I'm like, okay, no backing out now. I have to go. And then I go to the first class. I'm like, I got to keep going because now I don't want to fail. So I feel like it's just really starting. It doesn't matter how hard it is, like, just try and start something, because if you don't make a move, if you don't try, then you're not gonna be able to do it. And then you, like, where do you get that success? How do you say, oh, I'm successful? We didn't try. You're just like stagnant. You're just sitting doing nothing and just hoping for things to change. Like, it's not gonna change until you do something to make it change.
I think that piece is huge, because I always think of it like this. I'm like, I would rather try and fail
than not try at all,
than live with the regret of wondering what could have
and
happened.
that's my thing. I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna try, because I never want to sit back when I can't do the thing to say, if I had known, or what if.
The what ifs are the crazy part,
because
it's like, now that we have, like, the ability, you don't, like, for me, I'm like that. Like I said, I would rather try and fail than to live with the regret of wondering, what would have happened if I would have tried. At least if I try and it doesn't work out, I'm like, well, at least I tried it. At least I tried. There's no doubt of what would have happened. It didn't work out. But at least, the possibility of me getting somewhere different, or producing a different result is there. Yeah. So I think that
and I think fear is something, we talked about fear before. I think fear is something that really holds back a lot of people from being successful, because some people, they're fearful of, like, well, if they're trying to start a new business or trying to start something new, whatever it is, they're fearful that, like, what if it doesn't work out and I put money in this, I invest money, then
that's a scary
what's
thing.
gonna happen? Like, I'm gonna lose all my money. But, like, for me, I'll take risk, but I'm very careful with the kind of risk that I take.
You take very calculated risks.
Yes.
Very calculated risks.
I'm like, if it's like, okay, you gotta invest like 1,000, I'm like, maybe we should try to do 5. Just in case. But yeah. So, but I really do feel like you have to, and I talked about this before, where you have to reach to the point where you're like, okay, enough is enough, and I just really need this. Like, my life depends on this. I didn't have to go back to school, but I know that because of where I'm trying to get to, what I want to accomplish in life, what would consider me, for myself, to be successful, is for me, and that's the goal for me, is for me to finish school, go back to school and finish. And I know for me, once I start, I know I'm not going to stop. There's some people like, well, I could start, but then I'll stop. You got to know yourself. So I know me. Once I start, I am not going to stop. So for me, it's like the starting. Because if I don't
start, the hardest part.
Exactly. If I don't start, then I know I'm not going to get there. But once I start, I know I'm going to see through until the end of it. So
very interesting thing about fear, when you mentioned it, I remember this fact. They say that 90% of the things that we are worried about, that we're fretting about happening, that we're fearful of happening, never going to happen.
No.
It's never going to happen.
It's just us being so anxious, and like the anxiety and the worry and all that just kind of overtake us. And it's like, we're like, oh, well, what if? Like, I've come to a point where I'm like, you know what? Don't worry about the what ifs. And like I said before, today I'll be feeling like this, and tomorrow's like, the what ifs come, and I'm like,
what if?
I'm like, oh no. And it may take you a while to realize and to say, you know what? I'm a rebuke that. Like, I'm not gonna get there. And you know, you gotta realize before you get too deep into thinking the what ifs, because then, you know, it's like you get into that hole and you can't get back out.
My problems aren't really the what ifs. I think I think my problem is just the wanting to do it. Sometimes it's like, for me, it's like I'm just like,
And
I don't
sometimes
really
it's just
wanna do
like God
this.
is like, you know what? I'm teaching you how to wait.
I don't really want to do this.
I'm teaching you how to just, you know, take your time.
I think one of the things that really does add on pressure when it comes to success is not really our view of what success is, but what society puts on us as what success is. And I think that creates more pressure and more stress than what would be if we were comfortable in our own picture of success. Because society will tell you that you're not successful unless you're making like 6-7 digits, unless your business is booming, unless you have like 100 employees, unless, you know, you can work in your business full time and not have to worry about anything. You know, there's different things that are placed upon us because of the society that we live in this capitalistic society that we live in.
But,
you know, however, I feel like when we start determining what our pictures of success are, it'll start taking some of the stress of trying to be successful away.
yeah, and I like I said before, I think that you have to come to a point where you realize that you can't measure your success to somebody else's success, because it's like you have to, like, I look at you know, us and see like where we've been, where we're coming from, and what we have now. That's that to me,
we've been able to accomplish a whole lot. A whole lot.
I consider myself, and that's why I said I consider myself successful. I may not have everything that I want, but honestly, I'm not worried about the money and all that. Like, I know that God will take care of us. Yes, you're going to make sure you save, and you're saving for the future. You do your 401ks, you do your investment, you do your different things so that, you know, you can have some money, you know, set aside. But it doesn't mean that you're going to kill yourself like, oh my gosh, I don't have like $1 million. I don't have like, you know, you're not going to kill yourself because you're like, oh, I'm trying to get this amount of money. I'm trying to have this. I'm trying to do this. But, you know, you take your time and you just know that, you know what? You're still surviving, because you can't have them taking out like so much money out of your account, out of your pay for 401k for when you get older. Like, do you even know if you're going to live to see, like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to really think about it. And like, yes, like I said, like for me, I'm very, I'll take risks, but I'm careful with it, where I still need to live. I know people, they're like, okay, I put X amount, so when I get my paycheck, it's like I don't really take home anything. Like, why am I going to live? Why am I going to suffer? Can't even enjoy my life because I'm trying to save all this for when I retire. Like, we don't know what's going to happen.
We
like,
don't know.
You better live every day like
anything
if it's like
can happen.
Your last day. You know what I mean? I'm not saying you're going to squander money. You're going to act like you don't got no sense. But at the same time, don't deprive yourself. Don't starve yourself.
You definitely have to enjoy life.
You are trying to be successful. Like, look at where you were before. Look at where you are right now. And look and be like, you know what? Wow, I've come a long way. I've done a lot. Like, look where I was. You know, I remember when you was working at Rainbows. Now you're a teacher. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I was working at Rainbows making like $7.50 an hour.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you look at where you are now. And like couple, you know, years later, you're like, wow. You measure what you make now and you're like,
I ain't making $7.50. That's for sure.
Something would be wrong.
I ain't making $7.50.
You
so
know what I mean?
Shout out to the big man upstairs taking care of me,
it's like
taking me a mighty long way.
You really have to like really be careful of how you measure success when you're measuring success. I can't look at, like, you see people on TV, people are like, oh, I'm trying to get like this. Like, even with us doing the podcast, you know, people may be like, oh, you don't have this much, this, that. that's not an issue for me. That's not an issue.
We
like,
in season 2. We successful, baby.
You know what I mean? Like, for me, I don't need a lot. I just need to know that, you know what, God, I'm doing right by you. I'm doing what you want me to do, and I'm touching lives, and to me, that's success, because I'm not just here for popularity and all this stuff and not doing anything and touching anything, but like, it doesn't matter if it's even one.
That's successful.
You know what I mean? So it's like, you gotta really look, and you have to have a humbling spirit, you know, because sometimes it's like, yeah, that's a whole nother
topic for a whole nother day. I think the problem with success, as far as the pressures of success, is when we let that pressure control us. Mm-hmm. Because we can feel the pressure, and it's all about how we deal with that. Because like I said, I have a goal in mind in certain things that I want to accomplish in order for me to feel like my idea or what my picture of success is. And that comes with a bunch of different pieces, you know, and I see, you know, I'm making progress to that point, you know, not to say that I don't value the accomplishments and I'm not grateful for the accomplishments, but this major goal in mind. And I think that keeps me driving to keep trying to see that picture painted for, if you will. So it's kind of like you have this masterpiece that you're trying to create. And this is,
you got to keep working at
it. This is the best way that I can explain how I view success for me. I don't know about anyone else. I can only speak for me. It's like I have this picture that I'm trying to paint. And slowly but steadily, you see the details coming in. But for me, until that picture is completed with like how I view the picture, then that's when I'll be like, you know what? I'm successful.
Yeah, and
it's not to say that I don't recognize that, you know, we've been able to accomplish some amazing things. Mm-hmm. You know, I don't discount that, not one bit. But for me and my picture of successful, it's to complete that picture that I have in my mind. Make sense?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to start wrapping it up. You know, we always like to leave our listeners with some sort of advice, you know, especially when we dig into some deep topics. And I think for me, this was one of those topics that were important. Because like I said, I was thinking about it. It was on my mind, and you know, I was all in the fields. You know, so if you have someone who's kind of in a slump over becoming successful, or they're feeling the pressure of becoming successful, you know, what is some advice that you can give them to just help them through those feelings?
Celebrate the little things, you know, the little accomplishments. Celebrate the goals. Like, it doesn't matter if it's only one. If you have a list of things and you only is able to accomplish one, or feel like, you know, you're successful in just one area, like, it's something to celebrate. Don't look at what, you know, other people are doing to say like, oh, they're doing this and I'm doing this, and look at, you know, their thing is striving and it's doing good and it's going good, and mine is not. Like, once you start looking at other people and comparing yourself, man, then that's gonna be an issue. That's already gonna discourage you, because you're like, wait, what am I not doing right? Why are their stuff doing better than, you know, like, you can't do that. You just have to be comfortable and be okay with where you are, because you're doing the best that you can. And that's all that matters. Your best. If you're doing your best that you can, then you're successful.
And that's like, to be celebrated, for real.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's it for me.
I think the comparison piece is huge. I remember Jonathan McReynolds made that song, Comparison Kills. Like, you have to know what and this is a big piece, is you have to know what your picture of success looks like. You can't look at someone else and say, you know, well, I'm measuring my success compared to how they're measuring success, because y'all could be using different measuring sticks. You could be using a foot. They could be using a yardstick. You could be using a centimeter. They could be using an inch. So you can't really compare yourself with what other people are doing and deem yourself of being either a success or a failure.
Yeah.
So the comparison piece is definitely a huge piece. And I feel like recognizing what your picture of success looks like is very important. Like you said, yours, rests in accomplishments and things like that and making those small steps towards where you're trying to get to. Whereas mine, I'm trying to paint the picture, and even though I'm trying to paint the picture, I'm not looking around and being like, oh, well, their pictures are already painted. I'm focused and zoned in on me. I'm basically stay in your lane. Mm-hmm. Stay in your lane. Worry about what you're trying to do. Don't break your focus worrying about what other people are doing. And I'm gonna use something that you said to me. Don't be too hard on yourself. Don't be too critical on yourself. As long as you're taking steps in the right direction, one foot in front of the other, and you see that progress, being made. I always say, slow motion is better than no motion.
Yeah. And people will, like, the devil will use people to come and say stuff in your, like, whisper stuff in your ears, and like, oh, well, like this.
Well, why ain't you do this yet? Why ain't you accomplish this yet? Why ain't your podcast sounding like this? Why ain't, your book looking like this? And, it's like.
Yeah. And sometimes, people don't know the things that's happening behind the scene. They may assume. But they don't really know. So, we're going to do an episode that talk about walking in silence.
Oh.
Yeah. Because sometimes you really have to walk in silence. Like, you cannot let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. You really have
Save
to,
that.
like...
Save that. Don't be dropping... They gonna have to wait for that episode. Y'all ain't getting no free gems on the episode that ain't here yet.
Yeah.
But...
So, yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful. So, we appreciate y'all for tuning in for this amazing episode. Don't forget to check out the book. If you haven't got the book, check out the book. If you know someone who would benefit from the book, people, recommend the book. Buy them a copy. If you love them that much, buy them a copy. If you feel like they will be blessed for it. We was running a giveaway when we was giving out codes.
Yeah, we did give
for book digital
if
copies
you know somebody
for books.
That, just let us know. We'll gift some. So
we'll gift you some books for people. You just
let us know.
Let us know if you know someone who would benefit from the book. Let us know. We will get them a copy so that they can check it out. They can be inspired. And they can feel the love, So
yes.
We thank y'all for coming out. Don't forget, you can check out the podcast on all digital platforms for podcasts. The Spotify, the iTunes, the Google Podcasts. There's Radio City. There's a whole bunch of different ones. I can't even think of all of them. I have it written down. I can't keep track of them. There's 7 of them. So I labeled the 7 in the comments under the video. You can click on them. I have all the links. Go check out the podcast. Remember, death and life is in the power of your tongue. So make sure you speak life. We love y'all.
We love you guys.
Have an amazing week, and we'll see you soon.